Well, we're going to have to come up with something, because otherwise we're going to be here all day.
Welcome to Geeks and Gaijins. I'm the Gaijin John.
I'm the Geek Tom.
Together we are Geeks and Gaijins, the podcast that brings Japan to you as much as we can in like 40 to 50 minutes. So
it's not a lot.
Mine it off the beach, send it in the mail to you.
Just get little bits of Japan rock in your letterbox. That's not going to be good.
I'm not sure how illegal that is.
If we keep it up, eventually all of Japan will be gone, and it'll just be us hoarding our Japan rocks.
Isn't that just the concept that the British Museum is based on?
Yes, exactly that. We make up for our lack of culture by stealing everyone else's.
Yay! And speaking of things we are stealing from everyone else's culture, what are we going to steal about Japan today to fill our podcast?
We have a who's who pick and mix of podcast topics for you today, dear listener. We have Pokemon news, ever wonderful staple. Eldery E-Sports, Mount Fuji, Hello Kitty.
And food. Lots of food. I haven't had dinner yet, can you tell?
We should probably stop recording these before John has had his dinner. But
it's such a fun week, and it's just, to be honest, not a lot of very in-depth stuff has happened, so we thought we'd have more of a grab bag.
We're just going to chill today. It's just going to be a low-energy podcast for all of you.
Just chillax. Yeah. Just lay back, pop open some Pocky, and enjoy the Japan in your ears. Yeah, ears. That's how hearing works.
Yes.
First of all, Pokemon. Everyone loves Pokemon, Thomas. Apart from...
A lot of people like Pokemon. It's a very popular franchise. I think we can all agree on that.
Because so many people love it, lots of people are angry. The mostest of angries.
There's never a good week for the Pokemon fandom. There's everything they get, there's always something else to complain about. And I can understand.
Recently, 4 things have come out in the Pokemon universe, at least 2 of which people are angry about. Maybe 3.
It's a difficult time, isn't it, for your children's monster collection?
But Thomas, I want to be able to collect all my 700 and stupidity monsters. I want the Sunflower Seed Pokemon, goddammit.
Sounds like you need a hobby. Another hobby. A different hobby.
Different hobby. A non-Pokemon Go related hobby. Gotcha. So let's start with the one that's the least controversial. They're making a new Pokemon Snap, like 15 years too late. The game that would have been perfect on the Wii and also perfect on the Wii U, they're going to try and make successful on the Switch, which I'm sure is fine, but...
It's a safe bet to put it on the Switch at the very least.
Well, to be honest, Nintendo could literally just make a pile of Pokemon poo and put it on the Switch and go, yep, that will sell gazillions. I think that's actually coming out next year. It's Pokemon Farmer. You have to make sure you fertilize your fields with the right kind of Pokemon poo.
So you can grow berries to feed your Pokemon so they generate more poo.
Pokemon, like, Game Freak, Tencent, come at me. I will create your Pokemon mobile game ideas. That's another thing. A new Pokemon mobile game has been released. This is Pokemon Cafe. I'm going to give you, Thomas, 3 guesses to guess what you can do in Pokemon Cafe.
Is that a Cooking Mama type thing?
It's not. That would be an actual good game.
Oh.
Think more mobile and more freer. This is actually slightly different. It's a match 3 game. We can't hear the music or Nintendo will sue us into oblivion. That's how it works.
Oh, I was vibing. Okay.
Pokemon Cafe Mix. And the art style is quite adorable because it is for mobile and for children and for people going, by the way, you can totally complete this game without paying any money. And also, I still have a soul. It's a kind of a matched 3 where you get different Pokemon to work in your shops. What you do, instead of like matching the different Pokemon together, you like move them around in a little 3D space.
Oh, that's interesting.
They work like almost like little balls falling down into something, and you try and match them by moving your finger around. it's vaguely new-ish, apart from the fact that half of the visual assets are from Pokemon Shuffle, a game that they released about 10 years ago.
Oh, God.
Which I only know because I played that game too much. But no, so that is generally inoffensive, but also, yay, more Pokemon mobile games. I'll put that on the pile. Going to get to the most controversial one, don't worry. The first Pokemon DLC ever has been released.
Yay! Been months since it was announced.
And this is the Isle of Armor, or Armor, because it's misspelled, because it's the American way.
Ain't no French around here, boy.
No.
This is Geller.
So this is the first ever DLC that you can download. And for some reason, they were only selling it as a season pass.
Huh?
You can't buy it as separate DLC packs. There is 2 things that are coming, and you had to buy them together. I think the reason for that is, especially this first one, generally it's not actually that big. It apparently has like a nice, cute little story, but is also, bar a couple of new Pokemon and like about 100 new returning Pokemon, there's not much to it from what's been going online. Like, people are going, yeah, it's entertaining, it's okay. I haven't wasted money on it yet. I'm waiting until they release the second one to see. Because you can't actually... This is a very weird Nintendo thing. You can't actually choose to buy it by itself. You have to buy it as one thing.
Nintendo, for goodness sake. One step forward, one step back. But in a different direction.
Yeah, no. So now we get to the fourth announcement, which is 1 step forward and 3 steps back into a pile of spikes that they'd laid there themselves. Mainly, there was this big Pokemon announcement in which I think they announced the mobile game, they announced Pokemon Snap, and they also announced this thing. And also, Pokemon fans got annoyed because they didn't announce something, because that's what Pokemon fans do. Thomas, you are our man on the ground with what Pokemon fans expect.
Well, I've only just been hearing the general hubbub around the periphery of the discussion. I'm not at the core of the Pokemon fandom by any stretch of the imagination. But it seems that there's a bit of a debate about how Game Freak managed the fan base's expectations with this big announcement. There seemed to be a lot of hype going into this particular thing, which goes some way to explain the disappointment and general animosity towards the announcement, because people were expecting an awful lot and they were disappointed. But an announcement of this size, people are expecting the Game Freak to announce a remake of the Sinnoh region games of Diamond and Pearl, following up their remakes of Sapphire and Ruby and Gold and Silver ages ago.
So they have been on a steady thing of remakes, especially in terms of Pokemon. This is the most successful thing they've had. Though it does seem we are still in the Sword and Shield center. And like, as I said, this is DLC, and this is the first time Pokemon's coming out with DLC. I very much doubt that they are going to announce like, oh, by the way, here's a new game. Totally forget about all that DLC we wanted you to buy.
Yeah, because the Crown Tundra still has not come out yet, so they kind of want you to be focused on Sword and Shield for a little while longer.
Yeah. I think maybe they might announce something, because obviously they're going to need to build it on Sword and Shield's... They're going to need to build it on Sword and Shield's engine, which means it will be faster to make, but also... Those games are more detailed than Sword and Shield was. I enjoyed Sword and Shield an awful lot, but the older games just had kind of more stuff in them. Because you can put more stuff in a game that is literally 2D sprites. But what you're going to do? They were fun games. I hope they get remade at some point. I will play them when they do. However, what I probably won't play is what they announced instead.
Instead, as if they were actually planning on announcing the remakes.
Okay, no. I just think this has a lot of the feeling of... This is a lot of the feeling of that Blizzard Diablo Immortal announcement of like, is this a joke? Don't you guys have phones?
Yep, this was definitely not an announcement for the core RPG fan base, or even the majority of the fan base.
Okay, I should actually say what this is now, because we've been skirting around it. This is Pokemon Unite.
It's a Pokemon MOBA.
Yeah. But not just a Pokemon MOBA for you at home. It is a Pokemon MOBA for mobile.
I mean, that is where most non-major MOBAs end up these days, is the thing. There have been a bunch of MOBAs on the PC that have been trying to dislodge League or Dota, but they just don't. So if you're going to build something like this, you might as well put it on the mobile, where the market's a bit more fluid.
Yeah, but MOBA, it's a MOBA for mobile and Switch. However, the thing about MOBAs is it's generally quite how can I say? It's either very casual or it's a very hardcore demographic. There's like no mix. You can't you can't dip your toes into a MOBA. You will get destroyed and leave with no legs. People were generally annoyed at this, more also because of the company that they are doing this with, which is Tencent.
Not a good look.
Thomas, would you like to elaborate on that laboured sigh?
Okay, so Tencent is something of an infamous name jotted around the game industry at the moment, and they're a very large tech company based in China that have their fingers in a lot of pies. So yeah, Tencent is is really infamous. They have a lot of stakes in a lot of different companies. They've got Paradox. They've got the people who make Elite Dangerous. They have a 40% share in Epic Games, who make Fortnite. They have a share in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and they have 100% control of Riot Games, who make League of Legends.
Generally, they're focused on the mobile market. So they own like 5%. A load of the companies you said, they only own like 5% or 10%. So generally, their big thing is they are a huge gaming platform in China. They own China's main social media. They own WeChat. It's Facebook, but China. They are stupidly large, multi-conglomerate times 10. And generally, if you want to do some video game business in China, which is, of course, a huge market, you have to go through a Chinese company, which ends up being a lot of the time being Tencent. And so they end up helping to publish a lot of games in China, but then they're also seen as having a lot of the hand behind horrible microtransactions and general shadiness.
They are not a pleasant company. They are not good.
No. Of course, this is the main reason. I think this seems to be the main reason why this is a MMO not coming to the PC, because they own Riot Games. They literally own League of Legends.
That would be cannibalism. That would be a stupid business decision.
Yeah, but they also own literally so many things. They are involved in so many things, including the mobile games like owned by King or Supercell. So they own 84% of the people who make Clash of Clans. So they literally look up any game that you know on mobile. They probably have some form of investment in it. Oh, and also, by the way, do you want to have your childhood destroyed even more, Thomas?
Is there any of it left?
They own Miniclip.
That is a blast from the past. Goodness me. I can't imagine how well that investment returned to itself.
I think they're generally a mobile game publisher now.
That makes sense.
So things like Agario or like Bloons Tower Defense or Plague Inc., that kind of thing.
It's such a bizarre dystopia we're in, where we have to worry about a $500 billion Chinese company that basically works hand in hand with the Chinese government, owns our free Flash game to websites.
Yeah, that's what it does. Welcome to the world we live in. But yes, so this was basically why people were annoyed at Nintendo. Though Nintendo kind of have to do some deals. Nintendo are big boys, they can defend themselves.
Yeah, the word carries a lot of weight in that sentence. That's a bit of a stretch.
Nintendo have generally been pulling back from their mobile investment. I think it's also a Game Freak thing, because Nintendo don't fully own the rights to Pokemon. It's very weird and convoluted. That is only something to do with Pokemon. I need to properly look into this. This is not a good look in the West, as mostly because of Tencent's view and generally disrespecting of intellectual property. The main chairman or the founder, once famously said that to copy is not evil, but in Chinese.
Yeah, it's not a good company. It's been criticized for having zero innovation and just copying what other companies do. So it's not like it hasn't earned that $500 billion worth. It's just,
But what I'm saying is, don't not buy stuff from game companies just because they own small percentages of them. Like Paradox Interactive, Swedish publisher and developer, is probably one of my favorite game publishers of all time. I love their games. Tencent own 5% of them. That is not something that will be deciding what they end up doing with their games because of the 5% owned by a Chinese company.
It's not a controlling share at all, not even close. But exactly. It's there, niggling away at your mind, always making you wonder whilst you're playing your CK2 games. Oh, goodness.
Well, but for everyone else, it owns 40% of Epic Games and Fortnite, so...
And that's definitely a better investment for them.
Rather than myself. Thomas, do you know where we can't enjoy our lives?
Honestly, my last attempt to assist you in a segue failed miserably, so I'm just going to let you do this on your own.
Well, mountain update!
Mountain update.
Because where I love to go in Japan is, of course, the mountains. Mountains don't care about my fashion sense. Well, they do, but they can't speak, so F them.
They could just make you really cold and wet instead.
Indeed. You are not allowed on Fuji-san, Thomas. You have been denied.
I am denied the right to Fuji-san. That is it's very sad. And it's a real shame that I won't be able to go to Mount Fuji this year because it's been blocked off, rather than the reason I don't go every other year, which is because it's in Japan.
Yep. So, for those who don't know, Mount Fuji is the biggest Fuji. The biggest Fuji. Mount Fuji is the biggest Fuji. It is the biggest
It's also the smallest Fuji.
Mount Fuji, or Fuji-san, as he is known in Japan, is Japan's tallest mountain. Notably, the term san is used for mountains. It's also the Japanese term used for Mr. or Mrs. So there are lots of jokes about him being Fuji-san. He is Mr. Fuji.
Mr. Fuji.
However,
or Mrs. Fuji, we don't really know.
Mrs. Fuji, we can't account. However, there's not actually a big time you're allowed to climb Mount Fuji because it becomes quite difficult to climb it in winter. And so there are only select summer months when you're usually allowed to climb it. And that's from July to September. If you do choose to do that, you can even book an appointment or a little cabin room near the top. So you can go there, experience sunset, sleep on the mountain, and then experience sunrise and walk down, which seems lovely. But no allowed that because now it's all barriered off because of the virus. There is some fun videos online that you can see. There are barriers, and then after the barriers are little sensors attached to cameras, speakers, and little red lights that go, Nino, Nino, go away, not allowed. Be gone.
Taking no visitors at this point.
They don't seem that secure, but I'm not going to go up against Fuji-san himself or herself.
You would be a fool.
Indeed. Yeah, there are actually quite a lot of dangers you can do climbing mountains in Japan, including the fact in some places there are bears.
Does Fuji-san have bears?
I don't think Fuji-san has bears, but if you go into some of the rarer places, they do have bears. And some of the more regular hikers you can see will have little jingly bits on their bags or on their climbing clothing, which is as a bear warning to make sure your bears run away from you.
So you don't sneak up on any unsuspecting bears.
So you can still go and climb the mountain near me in Tottori Prefecture, which has one of the best names. It is called Daisan, so san as in mountain, but Dai is the Japanese prefix used for big. So it is literally Mount Big, or Mount Humongous, or Big Mountain.
Big Mountain.
What do you call that big mountain over there? Just said it. What?
Yes.
That's Big Mountain. Yes. Yes, mountain.
That must have been a fun adventure for you to explore.
Yeah.
Makes it easier, I imagine.
But it's also the prefix used for university or daigaku, which just means big school.
I like it. I like it a lot. This language is a lot more straightforward than I thought it was initially.
Yeah. Welcome to Japanese. What's that? The same word is used for both expensive and tall. So, is Mount Fuji expensive or is it just tall? We'll never know.
I imagine you do have to buy an awful lot of gear to climb up Mount Fuji. So
maybe it's both.
Maybe it's both. Are there any big bears on Dai-san?
I don't think so. Not that I've seen.
Last time you checked? Okay.
Not when I climbed it, but then again, it was quite busy, which I can see why they've closed it, because, you don't get a lot of social distancing on small, quite busy mountain tracks.
Gotta be very patient on a very cold mountain top.
Yeah, but also, quite sadly, you don't get a lot of social distancing in our next topic, which is for your old senior citizens. Like, you're bored with your granny, she's taking up too much space at home, throw her to an esports cafe.
Okay, well, that's an interesting idea. I don't think my own grandma would be particularly interested in playing some Dota 2, but go on.
Yeah, to be honest, I think my gran would go, no. These people are casuals. I can't deal with them. They need to be at least plat Overwatch or I'm not playing them.
Oh, dear.
This is Welcome to Kobe, and not, as I've heard so many places, Kobe.
No.
Kobe. Don't call it that.
Kobe or not Kobe? That is the question.
Japan has, if you do not know, a very large aging population. So large.
I think we might have raised this a couple of times, actually.
It's a serious problem. Yes. And one of the main places they spend a lot of their time is gaming centers. Not those kind of games, but pachinko parlors. We will do an entire episode on pachinko at one point when I actually have the bravery to experience it. I do not have that because pachinko it's how do you siphon money from old people with legalized not gambling. Yay! But anyway, let's not send your grandma to pachinko. Let's send them to do esports instead. Woo!
And there's no gambling in video games, that's for sure.
Not at all. They're surprise mechanics, Thomas. What did we tell you?
So yes, if you want your granny to get good, this is where you send them.
Yep, this is ISR E-Sports, which is a cafe opening in Kobe City. Well, sorry, it is a competitive gaming environment set to open on the 2nd of July in Kobe City. Kobe, indeed. So when you go there, if you're a member, you have to be over 60 years old. So it's going to be a while. No, we can't go play with our Oba-sans.
They're the only people on my skill level.
Yep, so members can attend for 2-hour blocks at a time, which includes 90 minutes of screen time and a 30-minute cooldown period. I'm just imagining my granddad rage quitting because he got ganked in bottom lane.
That's right. You need some tea and biscuits to wash away the salt at the end of your session.
Or as this lovely article from Sora News 24 says, in the break room, where they can chat with other like-minded gamers.
Yeah, I'm a gamer.
It's a gamer. What can you do about it? Have you? Just like, do you think there'd be like old like grandma gamers like going up like, are you a real gamer grandpa? Or are you just a fake gamer grandpa?
You're just doing this to make your grandkids happy, aren't you? You want the attention. Gamers, rise up. I can't, my shins are too tired.
This is actually quite fun, the idea of like getting more people into video games.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on getting the elderly physically active these days, but there's also the problem of keeping them mentally active. And you can't just do that only with crosswords and Sudoku. You need something else there. So, and especially with how many options you have for video games these days, it's good because it's not just an esports area. They also have everything from like point and click adventures upwards to your more high class stuff. So it's good to keep their brains active, stave off the dementia.
Yeah, and there are also ones saying here that maybe they could eventually get things like VR games as well, and
which is going to be wild.
That's the thing. I have made my parents experience VR, and they are not old enough to join club just yet. But you have no idea how I sat my 50-something dad down to basically be a in space pirate trainer, and I was like, "Can I have a go now, Dad?" Because he was suddenly Han Solo for 2 hours, and he was loving it. But maybe think about the next time we're on stream or playing multiplayer games, we are here to fight the Obasans, who are going to take over our online spaces.
Honestly, it's how I want to spend my retirement, if I ever get there.
I, for one, welcome our elderly gamer overlords.
Yeah, I mean, they're the only people other than teenagers who have the time to dedicate hours a day to gaming. So maybe they will get those APMs up and then just destroy the scene.
Yeah. Well, there is one thing they can get to defend themselves against the virus and anything else that's bad that might happen to them, and that is Hello Kitty.
Ah, yes, our glorious corporate savior.
Yep.
Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty, who is actually Japanese. They're not Chinese. I think lots of people, for some reason, think Hello Kitty is Chinese, but no,
I get that
Japanese.
confused a lot too.
Kitty-chan, in the latest set of merch, is doing a cosplay as a Japanese spirit or yokai known as the Amabi or Amabe. This is a Japanese mermaid or merman with 3 legs, who is supposed to emerge from the sea and prophesize either an abundant harvest or an epidemic. It's more the latter. It's more that one that they're going with this. But no, it's not really morbid. It's not like Hello Kitty will bring the epidemic to you. It comes from a traditional setup that if you have a picture of that spirit after it's appeared, from that, it's supposed to protect you or cure you from that disease.
How'd that work in ancient times? Did the spirit have to pose so they could like paint portraits of them so they could hang them up on the walls? Or
I'm thinking it's like a courtroom sketch artist. Like someone sees it once and they're like, I was like, what color hair do they have? Is this who you saw?
Is this the strange merfish?
Yes, it was. This is not the first time this yokai is being used. It's being used by the official Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare to try and encourage to stop COVID-19.
Might as well pull out all the stops.
Yeah.
Pray to whatever god is useful.
And that god is Hello Kitty.
I will not be surprised.
But to be honest, this stuff looks cute as all hell. It's just Hello Kitty as a mermaid. Hello Kitty is a 3-footed mermaid, but Hello Kitty is a mermaid nonetheless.
How do mermaids even have feet? It seems like a...
They have 3 fins. 3 fins on the bottom.
Okay, right. So, yeah. I see, I guess. Carry on.
Don't think about it too much. It's a cat. It's a cute cat in a costume, Thomas. Don't think.
Okay, if you say so, John. If that's the way we're going to take this, that's fine by me.
And we're going to take it all the way to snack break.
Oh, yeah, it's what you've all been waiting for.
Boom. It is the ultimate super expensive snack break because turns out I am loaded because I got my Japanese Abe bucks. I got my 10 man yen. The Japanese government has given everyone, every resident, 100,000 yen to invest in the economy.
How much is that in dollars?
That is about $1,000-ish. And so I thought I'd splurge on the most expensive of all Japanese treats. Fruit.
What a twist. Very
Indeed.
twisty.
So twisty. So for those who don't know, Japan is renowned for expensive fruit. Like, insanely expensive fruit. Like, I will not tell you how annoyed I was when I first came here trying to find, like, affordable fruit that I could eat. Because this is Japan, you don't eat fruit. Fruit is not important for the eating. Fruit is for the giving. And it's businesses. It's businesses and it's the lack of space to grow stuff, basically.
Yeah, I can see.
Because essentially fruit is framed as this gift, and so you can't have all the shoddy looking ones, or you just spend a lot of time on them. So you end up like with this one perfect strawberry. And for that one perfect strawberry, you can pay upwards up to about £350. That is pounds in terms of UK currency, and it is not just a massive strawberry that weighs £350.
That would also be impressive and slightly more believable than a strawberry that costs 350 quid.
Yeah, so so there is a video online. I recommend it if you're a fan of Great British Bake Off or the Great British Baking Show. Is Paul Hollywood buying a 50,000 yen strawberry. So you could get a whole 2 of these strawberries for the Abe bucks. And he does say that this is the most delicious strawberry that he has ever eaten.
How much of that is placebo effect, though?
Yes. Though it seems when he was talking to the man he interviewed, who was the grower, he says one of the main things he sells them to are either businesses or like weddings. So someone bought like a big thing, bought about 20 of these strawberries to have at like as a gift for all the visitors at like this very expensive wedding. That's kind of the thing for them. The other bit is like so much effort gets put into them because like I will talk about the melons because specifically I have a melon, but not the ultimate melon, because the ultimate melon is a Hokkaido Yabari melon. So this is Yabari King melon. Now, so Thomas, if you wanted to go down to your local shops in Hokkaido and you're good at finding reasonable prices, how much do you think the average Yabari King melon, this is the most expensive melon in Japan, would sell for? This is you going down, you're being the best haggler you can.
See, my perception has been thrown off by a £350 strawberry.
That is the best of the best strawberries. This is less than £350 strawberry.
Like, I can't exactly say I'm an expert on UK melon prices, but anything in excess of like a £5 for a melon is just ludicrous. So
this a reasonably priced Yabari King melon will set you back about 10,000 yen. That's about £80 or about $100.
Oh no!
for one melon.
How big are they? They're like normal size.
They're not big. They are not £80 worth of big melon. The thing is, that is not the record breaking. That is not like the ultimate one, because they have fruit auctions where different companies will bid against each other for these fruit to give as gifts, because they're used to like symbolize business arrangements. The important thing here is not the eating, it's the amount of money you spent on it. And the thing they've decided to spend money on is melons. So the most record-breaking cost was 2 melons. So you auctioned 2 melons that sold in 2016, and I would like you to give a guess in either US dollars, in yen, or in pounds. This is probably, I think, some of the most expensive fruit sold in the world ever. For 2 melons. By the way, if you're at home, look up Yabari King melon. Yubari. Like, they look cool and delicious, but not this level of cool and delicious.
Let's go. Let's estimate at about. Give me a colder warmer here. £400 for these 2 melons.
So cold.
So cold.
Freezing.
500.
Still freezing.
Warmer?
Slightly.
1,000.
You've gone like from the Antarctic into like the seas around the Antarctic.
5,000.
Thomas, for 2 melons sold in 2016, they set back someone the grand price of 3 million yen. That is 30,000 US dollars. Ish.
That is $15,000 per melon?
That is more than I get paid in a year. That's more than an awful lot of people get paid in a year.
I think this system might be broken, John. I think we might have just lost all concept of value if it ever existed in the first place. What the actual... That can't be real. You've got to be pulling my leg on this one.
No, that is real. But also, if you go to McDonald's, they are selling that melon flavored frappe for the summer heat. They are not $15,000. They are more suitably about $4 or $5. But yeah.
I mean, my main takeaway from all this is that Animal Crossing's turnip-based economy seems less ridiculous in hindsight.
So, surprisingly, I could not afford a melon that is the same price as an Aston Martin. What
world do we live in where that's a comparison you could make?
No! I did, however, get my hands on a...
It's a goddamn melon!
Sorry, 2 melons for an Aston Martin. 2 melons.
Just buy them an actual goddamn car!
Yeah, so instead I got a Peru melon, or a pearl melon, which set me back a rather more reasonable about $8 or $9 for this melon. So still arguably quite expensive for a melon, but like anything compared to those last numbers, you're like...
It kind of throws everything out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. What do you want for that? I want 3 million squids. That seems reasonable, man. Yeah, sure, why not? So, let's see whether paying so much for the fruit does actually make it worth it. Okay, so first, to put it in perspective, everyone, I actually didn't buy this melon. One of my lovely co-workers gave it to me as a gift because her father grows them. So, this did not go so far into the monetary pit that is Japanese fruit. Also, you will see on our Instagram, the Gaijin John, which I will upload this stuff. This melon is now my son because he is so valuable. He is melon. And as all good sons, he must now be eaten to obtain his strength. It looks very melony, I will say. It's like... This is the thing with the fruit. For what you end up paying, it looks like the things off the adverts. It looks like the perfect melon. Because they'll grow one per vine and spend like upwards of 100 days growing one melon.
Goodness.
So there we go. This is a pearl melon from my prefecture of Totori. So very local. I've got a small bit there. So here we go. Itadakimasu.
Bon appetit.
That's goddamn great melon. Like, this might be like my thing of value. Like, it must be good. It must be good. But no, that's amazing. Japan does good melon.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, I can only wonder there's the kind of thing of like, you don't want to spend that much money on a melon. But you also kind of do. Just to know what it's like. There you go. Thomas, shall we start a GoFundMe? You spend us money.
We'll set up a PayPal account. Yeah.
Yeah, for the most expensive melon.
Donate to John's Melon Fund.
That's pretty much. The more money you spend, the more expensive melon I will buy. That's bloody great, is all I can say.
Wonderful.
It's probably the most delicious melon I've ever eaten.
It's nice and soft and sweet.
Yeah. It's ultimate. This is what I once again will establish. This is like the equivalent of like a. This is still spending a lot for a melon by Western standards, but it's very, very good, and it's also very local as well. Japan loves local fruit. But yeah, so that is our lovely snack dessert break with melon. Also, Japan loves watermelon as well. We might get to that later in one of the summer episodes.
It's a big part of their summer is watermelon. They're really happy with it.
Though a lot of the watermelon-related events have been cancelled, so people are very sad. Well,
just going to have to eat watermelon at home.
So I'll only have one more short topic now, because that was a longer snack break than usual. And that will be even more food-related. Thomas, do you love Kimetsu no Yaiba?
Oh boy, who doesn't love Demon Slayer, John? I would like to know.
Yep, no, because it is mandatory. If you say no to that question, you will be thrown out the country. That's how it goes. So you, of course, have Demon Slayer TV show, Demon Slayer cafes, Demon Slayer movies, Demon Slayer merch. Do you know what I needed, Thomas?
I don't know, John. What did you really, really need that was Demon Slayer related?
Demon Slayer Okonomiyaki.
What is Okonomiyaki? I don't know if I said that right. I definitely didn't.
No, Okonomiyaki is also known as Japanese pizza. Don't get excited, it's not actually a pizza.
Damn it!
Okonomiyaki is... The translation is basically how you like it cooked.
What?
That's literally the translation. Yaki means fried, cooked, usually fried. And okonomi means how you like or what you like. Basically, it's usually a mixture of batter, water, cabbage, and maybe noodles, green onions, meat. And it makes like a kind of weird noodly thingy, almost omelette. But you can basically change it however you like.
The toppings are quite flexible.
Yes, everything is super flexible. There are two main different styles. There's the Kansai region one, where they say the dish has originated, where it's prepared much like a pancake, where it's like pan-fried on both sides and everything is mixed up together. And there's also a Hiroshima style one, where ingredients are like layered in the mixture. I have eaten okonomiyaki before. It is beautiful. There is a restaurant, a chain called Dotonbori. They've announced that together with Demon Slayer, this summer you can have a line of limited edition okonomiyaki based on 6 Demon Slayer characters.
Which 6 Demon Slayer characters are available, John?
So, if you want your okonomiyaki, you can get Tanjiro, Nezuko, Zenitsu, Inosuke, Giyu, and Shinobu. So, you've got the main 4 plus 2 other characters.
That's a good selection there.
Yep. So, I recommend people to look these up at home if you want, because really, they're insane. So, if you want to get the Tanjiro one, the main one, this is topped with green onions and seaweed squares, and it looks like his little cloak. It looks delicious, and just generally, that is good looking okonomiyaki. Then Nezuko's one is blood burst technique, which is basically it's covered in a thick layer of mayonnaise, which is like pink, apparently stained with spicy pollock roe. So no, so maybe that's delicious. Then Zenitsu's one is basically covered in a fluffy egg omelette-y thing called a tama.
Nice.
So it's yellow, so it looks like his hair, with like a little recreation of what he looks like on it. So that's kind of cute.
A little seaweed silhouette.
Exactly. And Inosuke is just his face.
I've never seen grey food before. It's strange.
Yeah, it's
and
literally
unnerving.
it's covered in like a grey sauce with like cutouts to look like his face on it.
Are those edible?
I assume so.
Oh, okay.
That's probably the one I'm going to buy if I do go there, so I'll tell you.
Really? What flavour is that supposed to be?
It's supposed to be a spicy blend of pork and garlic.
Makes sense.
Yep. And yeah, his head is literally a pig. Then the most boring one, which is Gyu's one, or Mr.
Makes
Waterman. This is just blue mayonnaise on top. So it's blue, and it's apparently full of seafood. But then if you want to be sweet and fluffy, it's not okonomiyaki, you can just get a pancake, which is like Shinobu Kocho, the murdery poison girl.
Yes, definitely the lightest and sweetest of all the characters in Demon Slayer's story. Yeah,
Yay.
100%.
Well, these will set you back about 1,200 yen, so about $10, $11. So it's not that bad for okonomiyaki for a good going out. It's a little more expensive than you'd expect in Japan, but what you do get is you get a lovely little free plastic file folder with the character that you bought the okonomiyaki of. And all the different characters also look like tanukis. They're dressed as tanukis. Dotonbori's mascot is a tanuki.
It's adorable.
It is adorable, and it's available from July 1st. So that's today if you're a good boy or girl and listening to this podcast on the day it comes out. So go to Dotonbori, though if you wait till the 20th of July, they're going to be selling the things on little acrylic stands, which I will totally not be buying.
I think you can afford to wait that long. I would recommend caution when going to any sort of restaurant at this point in time. Do they do takeout?
I don't know.
We should find out for next week's snack break.
Well, I'm not going to go next week because I want to get those little character stands that only come after the 20th of July. So,
fair enough.
Who knows? And with that, that's the end of the podcast, everyone. Oh, such topics.
Much wow.
Much wow. Much, yeah, that was the ultimate grab bag. How much of it actually made it in the show, we'll leave for you to find out by listening to it.
Thank you very much for coming today.
Yeah, we do normal things. Well, we stream on Twitch, we stream Danganronpa, and all the Japanese games you can desire. We also just do general silly stuff on Facebook and the Instagram, the Gaijin John, but we are Geeks and Gaijins on everything else. Slap us a review, send us a message, and just be excellent to each other.
Party on, dudes.
Oh, ta-ta. Matane.